nerderotic.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the return of Doctor Who. And greetings, UK. This is a special UK broadcast because you're the only ones left watching this show. Not too many people watch it in America anymore, although some of the episodes supposedly took place very close to me. My name is Gary Beekler. I run a channel called Nerdrotic. I have been covering Doctor Who for quite some time on this channel, back when it was kind of good, but let's be honest, Doctor Who hasn't been good for a long time. Years, plural. And thankfully, there's been year-long breaks in between pretty horrible seasons. Unfortunately, that includes the beloved Peter Capaldi, who did the best job he possibly could with some horrific writing. I think he still remains one of the better doctors. And I love season 8, but yeah, that's a conversation for another day. So here we are in a shortened series 12, and they believe so much in the female doctor that they did give her a better time slot on Sunday, but they gave her less episodes, and there are going to be 2 within a week. So thankfully, this will be over soon, and then we can look forward to another year break. And then we get one more season of Jodie. There was an interview, which I will probably be doing a video on, where Chris Chibnall hints that he will be done after 3 seasons. But they are definitely getting another season. They have started pre-production on it, I believe. So any hopes that this is the last? Nope. That HBO money came in and saved the show. But I did report on one single rumor this year that I can't back up in any way, which we will talk about a little bit, that they might have hinted to in this episode. I'm going to start out spoiler-free. And then we'll get into the spoiler territory, and I will warn you before that happens, just in case you want to watch it. So, Spyfall. By the way, I initially titled this video wrong. I called it Spy Hard. It was just in my mind. Maybe because this was Try Hard. This was very try hard, but I fixed the title. And welcome back, by the way. The one thing I did enjoy covering Doctor Who last year was meeting all of you. We can commiserate. There's different camps. I know there's people who just didn't like the show because it was PC. I know there was people who just didn't like the show because it had bad writing. I know there was people who liked the show. And I know there's people who didn't like the show because they didn't like Jodie. Now, as far as a female doctor is concerned, you guys have heard my argument about this. I find the whole gender swap to be sexist in itself because the BBC doesn't believe that they can build a female character from the ground up, so they just decided to slap a male label on a female character. And of course, we got some pretty cringe references in this episode. Now, I will say this episode reminded me a little bit of the first episode of Series 11, which, it's like your average bad episode from Capaldi's era. But what interrupts anything that could possibly be good at any time is Jodie Whittaker. She is terrible as the Doctor. Like, legitimately terrible. Now, we've had a season. She's had her chance to build into the Doctor, and she's just doing a David Tennant impression, and Christ, she dressed like him in this episode. There was something that could have been cool that got completely ruined at the end by horrible acting. And that's part of the problem with this show. The writing, not very good. The acting was actually worse than the writing this episode. Some actors did a great job, of course. We love Graham. And we have Tosin Cole as Ryan, and we have Yaz, who I still feel is pretty useless in this show. They tried to give her more to do. She did some acting. She squeezed out a tear in a scene, and that was okay. But largely, anytime something starts to get interesting, Jodie comes in with her cringe acting and ruins the scene. Or anytime something stops and gets semi-interesting, another actor will come in with a horrible line, or they'll try to throw in the worst line of them all when we get into the spoiler territory. But it was pretty cringe. It was a pretty cringe episode. I was watching this with Mrs. Nerdrotic, who didn't like it either. She called it an after-school special, and I agree with that assessment. They tried really hard to make this an action episode, and wow, did they fail miserably. It was hard to watch towards the end. It had a decent beginning, though. But of course, we started out with woman power, and there is a lot of that. The show's still going to be PC. It's still going to be a repeat of what they did in Series 11. This course correction that they spoke about is just going to be what I predicted last year. They're going to try to bring in as much old David Tennant era stuff as possible, including some villains acting the same way those villains acted in the previous series with David Tennant. And let's be honest, the reason this series still exists is the memory of David Tennant, Matt Smith, and particularly in the UK, your guys' love of Capaldi. Here in the States, he wasn't that popular. I'll be honest with you. But it's the memory of those first 5 or 6 seasons that that keep people holding on, hoping that this might get better. We all know hope is not a strategy. Now, I just watched the episode. This is my spontaneous review. We'll say I'm gonna have to watch it again, and I will do a proper video breakdown with all of my nerdrotic level snark that I can bring. Now, my snark is well honed because I'm married to Mrs. Nerdrotic, who is the queen of snark. So we practice every day. So I'm going to get into the spoiler territory now. No, I didn't like it. Is it the worst episode of Jodie's era? No, it is not. They tried to shoot it better, but there was blown out scenes. I can't believe some of the technical gaffes they had in this episode. There's one scene where Jodie's doctor walks up and announces herself in the James Bond fashion, and the whole shot is blown out by a reflection from the iPad, and you can see it, and it blows out the shot. I can't believe they left that in. It was quite terrible. So, again, we're going to get into the spoilers, then I'll get to you guys in the chat. Welcome, everybody who is here. I appreciate your patronage. And I'm sorry, Doctor Who sucks now. I'm sorry. It is just the latest franchise to be taken over by the politically correct, as we'll say for the UK. And unfortunately, this is what we're going to get from the BBC with the diversity quotas, and it's a lot like we have a network here called PBS, and honestly, there was a time where it was good. It's a government-run network. It's also run by donations, and that's how I found Doctor Who, and pretty much 99.9% of every American Doctor Who fan found it through PBS. The BBC is PBS. So unfortunately, I don't know if you guys are going to be affected by the streaming wars, which might make television better. There was some good shows that came out in the last couple of weeks. For anybody who accuses me of hating everything, The Expanse is great. The Witcher, pretty damn good. So there is some good stuff. Okay, so we start out the episode. I'm going to set up my notes here. Sorry, getting in the way there. We start on the Ivory Coast, and we have a female sniper who fires at something and then gets stopped. Now, remember in the trailer, we half joked that it looked like Doomcock was coming through the TARDIS doors, and it did look like that in that scene. But we can't tell what it is. I'm guessing it might be the Cybermen. Who knows? Probably, maybe. It's supposed to be something from outside the universe, and we'll get to that. So the woman sniper gets taken out, and that scene happens so fast. It's hard to understand what's going on. You can tell they were limited on time, and they cut some scenes way too fast. They didn't let them sit, give you a moment to take it in and figure out what's going on. Then we end up on a plane with a female spy who gets a coded message, and then an alien or something comes in and does something to her in the bathroom, and then they cut away. Then we see an Asian spy in a safe house go, and an Asian man, that doesn't matter, a man, and one of the aliens comes and grabs him. So something is going on. And then, of course, the horrific theme starts. And I have to point out, I miss you, Murray Gold. I miss you dearly. You are one of the greatest television composers in the history of television. Some of the greatest soundtracks have come from the early years of Doctor Who. I am partial to the season 4 soundtrack and the specials soundtrack, and honestly, great work with Matt Smith's era as well. I miss Murray Gold. The music is completely forgettable, and that is what was one of the hallmarks of Doctor Who, to be honest with you. Even in the classic episodes, yes, even in the classic episodes, which, by the way, every time I watch a Jodie episode, I have to cleanse my palate with a classic episode, so I'll let you guys know what I'm going to watch. I'm thinking I want to watch a Fifth Doctor episode, a series this time. And, okay, so stupid theme. And then we have Ryan playing basketball. And of course he misses the shot because Ryan's dumb, because he's a man. And then we see Graham at the... Oh, no. Then we see Yaz back at... I was about to go Yaz at work. We actually see her as... what is it? What did they call her? A commissioner or whatever the hell they're called? You know, your police without guns over there. The kind that go stop, or else they stop again. Apparently, she's still in probation while running with the doctor, and she's always having to call in sick or get some permission to leave. But of course, she's leaving all the time, but the guy, her boss, tells her she's her best, she's the best person at the job. She is his best. Of course, because she's a woman, she's the best. I mean, we know this is the BBC. Then we get to Graham, and anytime Graham is on the screen, this is a good thing. I like Graham. Actually, his acting was a little wonky in this episode, but he's still charming enough. Of course, I only like him because he's a white male. That's that's a lot of the comments I've heard. So sure, whatever. Yes, you're my best. Yeah, that's what I wrote. You're my best. She was on probation. I forgot what kind of a cop she was called. So, and then we get each Yaz, Ryan, and Graham, when they're done with their little scenes, their introduction scenes, are all picked up by a bunch of MI6 spies. And then we see one scene that I will admit I liked. I will say it. I liked it. I saw Jodie had the TARDIS on a lift at an auto shop, and she's working. Of course, we have to show, Jodie. We want to make the Doctor female, but we want to show her continually doing very male things. See what they're doing? You see what they're doing? They really just still write the Doctor as a man. They just have a woman playing it. So, of course, there are women mechanics, but it's like 1 in 10,000 here in the United States. I used to work in the auto industry. I know. So she's working on the TARDIS on the lift. I thought that was kind of cool. Then the MI6 agents come and get her, and then Graham utters the first cringy line of this. No, the second cringy line of this episode. Worst Uber ever. I cringed a little bit. And the MI6 drivers pick Jodie and the fam up. More cringe. And then the driver gets killed because he's a man. And it gets taken over. The car gets taken over, and then they communicate with Stephen Fry's character. And he doesn't, first they thought they were being killed, and he's all, no, I'm not trying to kill you, I'm trying to bring you in. Something's happening, and then they all go to MI6. While they're at MI6, and this is supposed to be an action scene, and we see, so they go to the old car chase like they did in Resolution, and it wasn't very exciting at all. Then they end up at MI6 with Stephen Fry's character, C. Stephen Fry is charming. We love Stephen Fry. We love it when he reads us books. We love it when he's snarky. We even love it when he's being a little politically correct himself. But recently Stephen Fry came out against the politically correct, so I find it weird that he's in this show. And then he utters the lie. He walks up to Graham and says, well, you must be the doctor. We've heard all about you. Well, the doctor's always been a man. And then Jodie walks up and says, I've had an upgrade. I've had an upgrade. Yep. I could hear Bull's Trek from here. I could. All the way from Canada. I can hear the trigger train. Yeah, I winced a little bit, but I was expecting something like this. So we find out that a bunch of spies are being killed, and we see the spy from the plane, and we saw the scene. They put it online. Her DNA has been written. She's not human anymore. She is just a shell. Does that sound familiar? I wonder what's going on. So they have to contact another MI6 agent who had been sacked by C. And they insinuate that the doctor and this MI6 agent might have been very friendly. So it's the doctor's boyfriend, basically. And that doctor's boyfriend is played by, I'm going to mispronounce his last name, but Sacha Dhawan, who was in Iron Fist Season 2. And I actually think this guy normally is a pretty good actor. Actually, he might have been a good doctor until I watched this episode. I completely changed my opinion. Trust me. Not a lot of range there, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So we find out something is only attacking spies, and we need to figure this out. And there's only one person who knows, and it's like the Fox Mulder of MI6, and it's a guy named O. So they need to go to Australia because this is a spy episode, and in spy episodes we need to go to multiple locations that we shot generally around Europe, mostly in the UK, that are supposed to look like Australia and San Francisco and, the Ivory Coast. But it looks like Sheffield and, Cardiff. Actually, San Francisco looked a lot like Cardiff to me because that was definitely not San Francisco. Trust me, there was no poop on the streets anywhere. All right, back to that. Yaz and Ryan have a little banter. And there's a scene where Ryan wants Yaz's sister's phone number. I'm quite surprised they presented any kind of a heteronormative romance within this episode. That's not very politically correct. We're trying to steer away from heteronormative stuff. We definitely are. DNA rewriting spies. They need to go out to Australia. And so the doctor and Graham are going to Australia to meet O, and they figure out there's a guy who's behind this, and he is a Silicon Valley tech lord named Daniel Barton. I think you guys know him in the UK. I don't. Maybe he's like some comedian over there. I've seen him in something, but I can't remember. So Daniel Barton is a big tech CEO. And we're going to have Yaz and Ryan go interview them. So we're going to put them undercover. They're going to fly out to San Francisco and try to find out what the connection is between VOR, V-O-R, which is the company that this guy owns. And this company has more money than most countries. It's one of those out-of-control companies. It's just a search engine, not unlike Google. Now, I absolutely believe that what was written into this episode was a direct shot at YouTubers criticizing Doctor Who, and we'll get to that. So we'll start out with the Doctor and Graham go out to Australia. They meet O, and he's very friendly. He's the Fox Mulder. He knows about all the aliens, and automatically I'm like, well, it looks like Noel at the TARDIS Zone was right. This is the master. Now, I had not been reading any Reddit spoilers or anything like that because I don't care about the show anymore. I'm just going to talk about what's presented to me when it airs. But I figured out he was the master in about a nanosecond. So, yeah, he's the master. And they dropped like these really obvious after-school special scenes, including one particular scene, while they're trying to figure out who these aliens are, which I don't really care about, they come from outside the universe. The Doctor's Sonic, which can do everything now, can't read their language, so she's trying to figure it out. And Graham and O are having a conversation. He's all, "Oh, I've got all kinds of information on the Doctor," and Graham's all, back when he was a man, and Graham's all, "She was a man? I thought she was joking." That's another hint, and we're going to talk about the rumor I talked about, because it looks like it might happen. So I'll get to that. So he's got a bunch of information on the Doctor, and then we go to Daniel Barton's interview with Yaz and Ryan. And in the interview, it's supposed to be like a real tense moment. He's checking them out. He sacked half the staff for not announcing that the interview in advance. It was a surprise interview. And then he goes upstairs. They conduct the interview, and Yaz questions him about, using the search engine for fake news, misinformation, online bullying, and harassment. And yes, they wrote in criticism of Doctor Who on YouTube into a Doctor Who episode. So, wow, amazing. That was weird, and I will go much further into that in my detailed review after I watch the video. So, and in that conversation, we got another PC thing. Daniel Barton talked about how he was the only non-white person in his school, and the only reason those people got into the interview is because they were Brits, which is fine. That's fine, whatever. And he's got his own airport and airplanes, and he's the richest dude in the world. And then he has to cut out of the interview early, but he invites them to a party later. In the meantime, Ryan duplicates his badge, and they're going to snoop around and find out what's going on. So then we got... so in the second half of the episode, we start getting a reveal of these aliens, and it's starting to look a lot like the ghosts. Yes, the ghosts from the David Tennant era. So I'm guessing it might be the Cybermen, maybe. I don't know. But that's what it's reminding me a lot of, is the ghosts. And it might be that, it might be nothing, but we learn that these supposed aliens are not from this universe. They are from a different universe. While they're decoding a map at O's place, they show that there's multiple Earths. There's 5 Earths. So again, another universe. And we all know where that came from. So I think they're not being so subtle that this might be the Cybermen connected to the Master, which, the Master's had, a couple of connections to them, including recently. Now, you got to ask yourself, which Master is this? Is this the Missy Master or the Dave Sim Master? We don't know. We don't know, because as things were left in the Capaldi era, as they didn't answer any questions with that, they left it open-ended. It might have been answered in a book or a Big Finish audio, which I didn't read or listen to. But as far as the show is concerned, that question was left open as far as I can remember. It's been a while since I watched that episode. So the aliens start attacking O and the Doctor and Ryan in Australia. The 2 Australian security guards, of course, die. They capture one. They have a brief conversation. In the meantime, while Ryan and Yaz are snooping around, Daniel Barton comes back to get his bag, and they see him have a conversation with these aliens, and the plan must go forward. Then he leaves. Daniel Barton mentions that it's been too messy, and they keep saying we have to get rid of obstacles. They sound very robotic, although one of them did laugh. So I don't know what that's about. But one catches Yaz and Ryan, and one looks like it kills Yaz. And I cheered for a moment. I did. And then, of course, brave Ryan runs. Instead of trying to figure out what's going on, he just says, "I'm sorry, Yaz," and runs. By the way, O is a bit of a coward in this. Ryan's a bit of a coward. Graham is a bit of a coward. I mean, that's kind of normal for the BBC. So Ryan runs to contact the Doctor and says Yaz has been killed. but Yaz has been transported into a world that looks like a bunch of roots or something, a bunch of organic looking roots. I have some theories on what this might be, which I will put in the video. I have to do my research on this before I blather it out and get something wrong, but I have some theories. It reminded me a lot of some Time Lord stuff. So that's a possibility as well, or I could be completely wrong. Who knows? Remember, this is a part 1. So Yaz gets blinked into some netherworld with a bunch of roots, and there's energy coming down. And then she gets zapped back to where the doctor is, where they captured one of the aliens. Now, is this still Yaz? Because we already saw that one of the humans had their DNA completely rewritten. So it might be Yaz's brain, but Yaz might have actually died right there. And that would actually be something that's good. Not that I want people to die, but that's the kind of stakes we used to have in Doctor Who, where we would lose somebody just like that, unexpectedly. And even though they're still there, technically she's dead. Maybe she's, some alien form that's just taken her mind. Kind of like what happened to Winifred Burkle and Angel. You know what I'm talking about. So Daniel Barton invites them to the party, and we all, and O goes with them. So it's O, Ryan, Yaz, and the doctor, and they all go to what looks like Marin, but it's actually an Italian winery because there's no mountains in Marin in the background. No big deal. It still looked kind of like Marin. They go to Daniel Barton's house. They do some gambling. And then the doctor just confronts Daniel Barton at the end and goes, "So what are you doing? Why do you have alien DNA?" And this is one of the worst scenes in Jodie's history in Series 11, because she's trying to be intimidating. And all I was doing was laughing. The other guy who played Daniel Barton did a very good job being intimidating, and Jodie looked like she was cosplaying in a show. And this is where it gets effing horrible. So he just runs. Instead of getting his security and getting the doctor. He gets in his car and runs away, loads his gun. And then we have a motorcycle chase, and this is god awful. So you can tell nobody's riding their motorcycles. Of course, Yaz is riding the motorcycle with Ryan in the back, because remember, Ryan can't ride bicycles as an adult because he's a man. He's supposed to have some, I forgot what the disorder is, but that's one of those checkbox they have to hit for the diversity quota in Doctor Who. And no, I don't mind saying these things, by the way, because it's true. They don't genuinely put that stuff into storytelling unless they want to wrap a whole story around it, or go back to it once in a while, not just to have a woman riding the motorcycle, which they do all the time, especially here in San Francisco, especially during Pride. We got the Dykes on Bikes. But they're not really riding the motorcycles. And so we had a callback. By the way, this is just a major callback to an episode, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. They're wearing tuxedos, and there was a party with the CEO who might possibly be working with a program that might bring the Cybermen back. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So we have this awful motorcycle chase that's not a motorcycle chase. It's just shots up at the headlight, and Jodie, and their helmets are falling off, and it looks like kids. So this chase thankfully ends, and then they end up on a plane. Of course, they run down the plane. They get on the plane, and then Daniel Barton somehow disappears. I don't know what happened. Maybe they got on the wrong plane. And O is the last one to get on the plane. And, he, by the way, he mentioned earlier on that one of the agents, Daniel Barton, might be a made up person. And the doctor or somebody mentions that, wow, they would have to do a lot of, or I think it was Yaz mentions they would have to do a lot of work to build this story, to make up a person. And O goes, yeah, they would they? And then even Mrs. Neurotic, who's watched maybe 2 episodes of Doctor Who, said, oh, that's the master. So he gets on the plane, And he says, I was always last in my class. I wasn't a good sprinter. And the doctor goes, wait, no, I've read your file. It says you were an excellent sprinter. So he just goes, and by the way, Sasha had been acting pretty well. I thought his character was acted well. I liked the character throughout the episode. It was one of the bright spots. And then he turns into the master. He goes, you got me. Because the doctor figured out that, they couldn't have just had the file wrong or something like that. He just wanted to have his reveal now. So I want you to compare that reveal to the Missy reveal at the end of season 8, which was, great, which was a great reveal. This was terrible. So he reveals himself as the master. We do get to see his house, which is the TARDIS flying next to the plane. I did like that. And he reveals himself to be the master. And what he did was take over this Agent O, and he shrunk him and put him in a matchbox. And then he starts doing a Dave Sim impression of the master. A horrible one, like an awful one. And it flips on this switch, and he starts this maniacal laughter. I'm like, what is he doing? Why did he stop acting? Why is he acting like this? And it was fucking terrible. It made Jodie look good. So he reveals his plan, kind of, that he wanted to kill the doctor. I'm her best enemy. Of course, Graham, Yaz, and Ryan don't know what's going on. They don't know who the master is. And throughout this episode, he kept asking the doctor to find out who the spy master is. So he was giving his own hints. And he puts a bomb. Of course, it's deadlocked, so the Sonic can't use it on the plane. And the plane starts crashing. It blows up. But before the master leaves, he wanted to tell the doctor something before she died. And I'm paraphrasing. I should have wrote it down, but I don't exactly remember what he said. But he said something to the effect of, everything you know is a lie. Everything you think you know is a lie. And then he disappears out of the plane, and that's where the episode ends. So, I'm not saying, this could be wrong again. Somebody told me this rumor. I have a couple of insiders who do not work for the BBC. They work for companies who work with the BBC. I've had relationships with these people for a long, long time. I knew them before I was YouTubing or anything. It's back in my comic shop days. And one of them told me that one of the things they were playing around with was messing around with the Time Lord's past a little bit and making the Doctor originally a woman, possibly. Again, I cannot verify this. The people I heard it from were not in a writer's room. They were not part of the production, but they work with the BBC. And as it relates to Doctor Who, I can't say much more than that. And they are privy to parts of plots of episodes for particular reasons. We'll just leave it right there. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. And I don't really, would you be surprised? The only reason I even talked about it is of course they would. Of course they fucking would. I'm surprised they didn't do it earlier. So we'll see. And we got a whole other season. I think we're going to get more arcs this season. They're going to try to be more like older Doctor Who. We're going to get to the chat in just a second. So there was definitely a bunch of callbacks to Pete's World. And this, I don't know, maybe the rumors of Rose coming back. You would have heard, right? But maybe the rumors of Rose coming back are true. We haven't seen a ton of footage. They shoot this show mostly in studios, so they can keep a pretty tight lid on things. And most importantly, not enough people care about the show anymore to blurt out spoilers or have Reddit theories like the old days. They're still out there, but it's nowhere near the interest. So let's get to the chat. We got 2,500 people watching. That's awesome. Easy does it. How's it going? Mongoose McQueen, Osmus, Justin White, Proven 22X, Andrew Salisbury, Broken Entertainment. Man, we've got some broken entertainment here. John Smith, Ensign Ricky, Starry-Eyed Girl. What's up? I would like to get you on one of these episodes. Okay? So let's talk. I'll send you a DM. Starry-Eyed Girl. Halam899 watching for the first time. Roofy, Jabba, Mikey Woods and his wrench, and TM Martin. Am I going to continue? TM Martin asked for $2. Am I going to continue to review this hot mess? Yes, because I am very curious to see if my rumor pans out. And if it doesn't, I will freely admit it, because it's just a rumor. I'm not reporting it as a fact. It is a possibility. But honestly, one of the only reasons I reported it is I predicted they would do something like this at the end of season 11. I think it's in my resolution review. I'm like, well, they're going to make the Doctor originally a girl. And lo and behold, maybe they're thinking about it. We have 2 seasons to find out. I am very much against ever hearing answers about the Time Lord's past. I don't mind like a blip, a scene. We find out that when he was a little boy, he lived out in a cabin or something like that. Or when this version was a little boy. I don't mind little snippets like that, but I don't ever want to know. I think the best part about the Doctor is that he's an enigma, and that's, you know, he's been that for 50 years. Jodie's not much of an enigma, though. Okay, so we're going to start out with Super Chats, but I'm going to go back and forth, and we are not going to put a time limit on this one. Okay, usually I put a half hour to an hour time limit. We're going to go as long as we like to go. It's New Year's Day. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to 2020, where our franchises still suck. Nicholas Horton for £5. Which version of the Master did he regenerate from? John Sim? Did I say Dave Sim? I keep saying Dave Sim. I'm sorry. Dave Sim is an artist, is a comic artist. My apologies. John Sim. Correction. Cerebus. Dave Sim, that's Cerebus. That's the question I asked. Which version of the Master did he regenerate from? John Sim or Michelle Gomez? That's a good question. The Michelle Gomez one was nicer, so I'm thinking it's the John Sim version. There are 2 versions of the Master out there right now, and I said that. The Doctor 14 Blu-ray reviews for £2. I enjoyed the episode. I am not a shill. Never said you were, but you always enjoy the episodes. That's fine. I'm not gonna. They would have to write something magnificent for me to like this, and maybe they could. Like I said, this episode felt like The Woman Who Fell to Earth, which wasn't a half bad episode. It wasn't great by any standards. I would put that on the level of your average season 10 Capaldi episode, which isn't great. Cracklin for $1.99. Toss a coin to your nerdrotic. Man, that's a catchy tune, isn't it, man? It's been rolling them around in my head for 2 days. Toss a coin to your Witcher, everyone. Michael Billington for £9.99. What a waste of an hour of my life. And it's a emoji over and over again. Yes, it was. Worst Uber ever. Graham, says George for £1.99. Yes. And worst line. No, it wasn't actually the worst line. It was the 4th worst line in this episode. Garbage for £2 says peril. Action aliens. No bad dads. Sorry, season 11 lovers. Yes, but there will be bad dads soon. There will be bad dads. Hey, maybe the Master is the Doctor's dad. Who knows? Maybe the Doctor is his daughter, and he's just a bad dad. Maybe that can happen. Cesario JPN for $10. Counterpoint. The irony is that a comedy charity special actually proved a female Doctor could work. Jonah Lumley, Curse of the Fatal Death, written by Stephen Moffat. It's just it needs the right writing and story to work. Anything with the right writing and story can work. And I mean absolutely anything. You're not wrong, Cesario JPN. Here's the problem. Chris Chibnall was lazy in searching for his doctor. He went with a very safe choice, somebody he had worked with before, and she was his second choice, third choice. And she's not very good. She's very limited in range. Jodie would be good in a British sitcom. She would be good in a British sitcom. She is the friend, the annoying friend who always comes over. She could probably do a pretty good job at that. Daxamite for $1.99. I'm done with Doctor Who. I can't take it anymore. It's pretty bad. And I don't blame you. Eric K for $1.99. Show the New Year love for Nerdrotic. Hit the like button. Why, thank you, Eric K. Yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, how am I supposed to say this? All Foamgar Recordings. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. For £5. Boris, after his huge win, is going to decriminalize not paying the license for the BBC. Their need to make money might just affect all the PC. Maybe if this turns into a money-making organization, they will rethink this. And you got to ask yourself, how much influence does Warner Brothers have now, because they paid to have Doctor Who on HBO Max. Now, they might just have paid because Amazon Prime didn't want it anymore. And while I think HBO Max will be good, the reason Doctor Who reached probably its most popular level in its history back in 2012 and 2013 was because it was on Netflix. Doctor Who was on Netflix, and then it went to Amazon Prime, and that's when things started going downhill, honestly. And Amazon Prime is okay. HBO Max is a new streaming service, and it's going to be buried on that. But you know what? You'll be able to watch Batwoman and Doctor Who in the same place. Sam Whiskey for $1.99. Jodie Whittaker is no Leela. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. And no, she is not. The Casual Gamer for Canadian $5. Happy New Year's, Gary. Hopefully this is the year the wokeness and the access media ends. I think the beginning of the ending. The wokeness is going to end, folks. People are getting tired of it. Even the one thing that you may have noticed in the Fandom Menace is there are many from both sides of the aisle, in the middle, left, right, here, because we're tired of it. We just want to enjoy our entertainment. You know, some of the politics that they try to hammer over our head and shove down our throats, it's not the politics themselves. It's what's behind it. We know there's no genuineness behind this. We know they are just doing it to score brownie points with who? Well, with an audience that clearly doesn't buy anything. And the audience that did buy things are gone. Jodie Whittaker's 1/6 scale Big Chief action figure couldn't sell 350. In a world of, 6 billion people? Couldn't sell 350. 350. Yeah. John SG, welcome to the proto-molecule level. I thank you. I appreciate it. And TM Martin for $5. Hi, Gary. What do you think of the shot of San Francisco for the VOR building set? P.S. Chib deliberately cast Stephen Fry as a counter strategy. God damn, it looks like it, because in one of my videos, listen, I don't know, maybe, TM Martin, I want to keep myself in check, okay? But I did put some audio from Stephen Fry, who made a great counter argument against political correctness in one of my videos, one of the ones that did okay. And this was back when the channel, when I started covering Doctor Who, the channel had 6,000 or 7,000 subscribers. We are very close to 200,000, by the way. And also, please make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube had a little bug in the system a couple of days ago. But most of it has come back, by the way. Nicholas Horton for £2. What we also feared, Torchwood is also gone. Yes, thank you. Unit and Torchwood are gone. Confirmed. Which I think this is good. They can't screw it up. And the reason Torchwood is gone is because it is Russell T Davies. And I actually think that might be what, out of respect for Chris Chibnall, or by Chris Chibnall, out of respect for Russell T Davies. I think that's why they think that's his baby and only he should be writing it. And Russell T Davies is never coming back to Doctor Who, which is very sad because his era of Doctor Who is some of the greatest television ever. It is as good as Buffy in her prime, Angel in his prime, some of the best television in history. And he's not going to come back. Wonder what happened. Destiny Captain for $1.99. So there's no Tom Baker in this show. What a rip. I know, right? Well, they're going to be dancing around in the Time Lord's past. What they do, I do not know. Cracklin, $1.99. Is the Doctor a gender fluid I can't finish that, Cracklin, but I know what you mean, and you understand why I can't finish that. Yes, actually, yes. Yes, that's the canon now. Actually, if you think about it, the human form, I mean, can the Doctor be an alien now? I mean, what's the Doctor's, or what is a Time Lord's true form? I don't know. It still might be human, maybe not. We don't really know. Father Christopher Miller for $2. Never thought I'd say this. Doctor Who? Meh. Yeah. This could have been a decent episode. It could have, but it wasn't. The Casual Gamer for 5 Canadian pesos. And it just jumped on me. Sorry. Oh, I saw you bring up the Valeyard too. And the Valeyard. God, I don't want them to do it in this era. If they do it in this era, I will be hot pissed. Oh, I died a little inside when she said she got an upgrade. Such a cringe line. That was a giant middle finger to all of us. And I will extend it back in my video review. Oh, Chris Chibnall, Doctor Who, BBC Jodie Whittaker. 3 times you're getting it today. I'm going to do this live stream, and then I'm going to cut a review, and I'm going to do an American live stream. I am not letting this go. I might be close to letting Star Wars go. This one, not letting go. I will not go into the night quietly into the night. TM Martin, thank you again for the $2. Nigel Mayo for £5. Stephen Fry wasted, right? Ever watch Blackadder? Yes. Like Jar Jar Abrams, Chibnall putting it together with easy stuff that the character thinks the fans want. Chibnall just threw a bunch of action scenes together. They were very typical. There was very little connective tissue between them. But he's a competent enough TV writer. I'll say this. I will say this. At least I could follow what was going on. It's not like a Star Trek Discovery episode, which I do believe those are written worse than Doctor Who, but not much. But once we get to the other writers, Fixie Clary for $5. Thanks for watching it, Gary. I don't think I would even if I could. Don't. Listen, I watched what you guys are watching over there. I was watching live BBC for a couple of hours before the show aired, and there is some sitcom with the guy from Lucifer and some 7-foot tall woman in a romance together, and it was like a look back at that comedy series, and I couldn't believe this British television. I know you guys like cheese, and I like cheese too. British television used to be the gold standard of television. What happened? Icon Bearer for £5. Thanks for taking the bullet on this one, Doff's hat. You're welcome. And you know what? I couldn't find my bowler. I was going to wear my British flag suspenders and my bowler hat, and I couldn't find it in time, so I'll probably wear it tonight. Justin White for 10 Canadian pesos. Off they make the Doctor, originally a woman, then he has a life before Hartnell, which means there are too many lives before the Council gave him extra, which was the whole drama at the end of Smith. Yep, Justin, I think they're going to just toss that crap. I just don't think they're going to care about canon, and it's already kind of been busted. And listen, you can play with Doctor Who canon more than you can with other things, but that does... Hartnell's the first. Hartnell's the first. You take that away, I think you piss off even people who are sympathetic to Jodie. I think they risk doing that. Are they going to do that? I don't know. I think that would be a horrifically dumb move. Lifeless Nerd for 10 Swedish krona, but no comment. Lifeless Nerd, you have a life here. You have a life here. Father Christopher Miller, $2. Maybe Jodie's doctor is the Valiard. I would accept that. I would. If we end her run and she becomes the Valiard, I might be okay with that. No, I wouldn't. 619 Wisey for £5. How do you feel the escapism was in this episode? I was struggling and cringing through a lot of it. I don't come to Doctor Who for that anymore. The escapism is gone. The Doctor Who used to be a world you can escape into with all members of your family. It really was a show for everyone. And that's why it did something that Star Trek hasn't done in decades, and Star Wars is going to struggle to do. It captured a generation of kids. There was a generation of kids who, and it's all about timing, folks. So, Harry Potter had quite a popular run here. And if you notice, Doctor Who was getting popular in the States right around the time Harry Potter was getting popular in the States. But Doctor Who blew up right when Harry Potter ended, because there was a whole new group of kids and fans who started liking all things British. And Doctor Who is still fantasy, and they really flow into each other. So there was a void left open when Harry Potter ended that I think Doctor Who filled with a lot of fans. And that's when it really started blowing up. 2010, 2011, 2012. It reached its peak in 2013 when Comic-Con was absolutely owned by Doctor Who. I mean, it was everywhere, bigger than Star Wars. It was as big as Marvel at a San Diego Comic-Con. Unfortunately, they didn't ride that wave. They decided to drastically change the show. I wonder whose genius decision that was. I heard that person is still in charge, and that decision was made by the person who took over the BBC or programming in 2012, I believe. I don't know the timing of that. I'll look into it though. But people, I mean, they had the television special here airing. People were excited to hear who the new Doctor was going to be after Matt Smith. And quite frankly, a lot of people were let down by Capaldi. I think they could have been sold on it. But after season 8, they drastically changed the character and started going PC. And that's when things started going downhill. Jodie Bowie for $2. She's Joey from Friends of Kramer from Seinfeld. She's Joey from Friends of Kramer from Seinfeld. Exactly. Oberon, 20 Danish krona. Happy New Year, brother. Love to you and your family. Right back at you. And Mrs. Nerdrotic sends her love to all the Whovians who like her or even don't like me. That's fine. Lifeless Nerd for 20 Swedish krona. If she is an upgrade, why is she so bad? That is a good question. That is a very good question. The Kelvington for $5. Doctor Who is virtually unwatchable now. Thanks for suffering by watching these so others don't have to. Please don't waste your time. You could spend an hour paying parking tickets, mowing your lawn, spraying WD-40 on something, opening your garage door over and over again and just watching it. I mean, that is time better spent than watching Doctor Who. Hyperion 9997 for $8 Canadian, and it just jumped on me. Streaming Doctor Who in Canada is so awful because the company streaming it uses the broadcast version with commercial fade-outs, which breaks scene tension. Well, there was none, so you don't have to worry about it. There was none. I watched it all the way through, and listen, it felt like there was points in it that felt like an episode, and then it got ruined by some cringe line, some inserted PC bullshit, and then a horrible motorcycle chase at the end, which was just laughable. I mean, think about Matt Smith riding his Triumph up the Needle in London, and this. Come on. Jodie McGoatface for $5. You know, dog food lid backwards is dildo of God. What? Dog food lid backwards is dildo of God. Oh my God, that's random. Also, the Watchmen TV show is a disgrace. It really is. That was the worst thing I've seen this year. That is going to win a Uranus Award for sure. And the Uranus Awards are going to be this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. The second annual Uranus Awards here at Nerdrotic. And Doctor Who just came in just in time to be nominated. Now, my patrons vote on this. I got to give them the nominations. But I'm guessing Wokeman might win a lot. Lady Mist for $20. Wasn't Sir John Hurt in The Day of the Doctor the first Doctor? It had scenes in it with him as a younger boy. How are they going to make him a girl after that show? I may be wrong. It won't be the first time. Lady Mist, what they would have to do is, the way the rumor was reported is multiple cycles of regenerations. So they're just going to make up another cycle. Even though throughout the history, Hartnell has been the first. There's a limited number of generations. There wasn't cycles to begin with. This is something that's been theorized before by other people on Reddit for years and years and years. Not just on Reddit and forums and stuff like that. So, I don't want it to be true. Listen, Jodie does her run. She leaves. We get a male doctor. It'll probably be a person of color, and that's great. That's fine. It'll be a male person of color, and I hate saying that term. I apologize. Fine. That's great. That's what I thought they were going to do. It doesn't have to be a white dude, okay? So that argument, F off. But Jodie will be gone, and maybe a better showrunner comes on and it course corrects. She's part of the history forever. There's not much we can do about that, but we know it's temporary, as with all doctors. So I hope they don't change the history. I hope this is not true. They would have to fundamentally change the history, but we got to make things relevant now, Lady Mist. And you did see Rise of Skywalker. You did see them bring back Palpatine and completely undo Anakin's sacrifice and Luke Skywalker's story. I don't know if you watched Star Trek Discovery. You saw them muck around in Spock's past, and they did fundamental damage to that character. Of course they would. Of course they would. Care for a Jelly Baby for £5. Blimey, what a terrible tat. They'd better not mess with Doctor Who's past. Arg! And they better not. And god damn, I love your avatar. Ford Prefect. And by the way, rocking some Douglas Adams here. May he rest in peace. One of the greatest authors of all time. One of the greatest people of all time. One of my childhood heroes, Douglas Adams. The Talons of Wayne Chang for £10. Hi, Gary. Long time no see, but always watch the vids and catch up. Loving The Inquisition with Doomcock. I am too. It's a great show. And Doomcock is a great YouTuber and a good friend. Jodie's performance shows no alien qualities at all. She's just like a human on speed. It's so bad. Exactly. Where is that? The reason you have to pick a character actor to play Doctor Who is character actors often can't be the leading man because there's something off about them, or they get stereotyped into the killer or the awkward friend. But that's a perfect character to play the Doctor, because the Doctor needs to have this detachment, and almost like he's somewhat, not mentally ill, but has a lot of issues. That's how you have to play the Doctor, but you don't play the Doctor crazy. You're in control of these. You're an alien. You're inhuman. She can't do that. Grat Fodder. Oh, wow. Long time no see. Grat Fodder. What's up? The only way Always Been a Woman could work logically if they do the 7th Doctor book, Lungbarrow. Their Doctor is reincarnation of another Time Lord with another cycle of generations. Yep. I'm not saying, listen, again, this rumor is a big one. I sat on it for 9 months before I talked about it. I was waiting for verification from another source. Could not get it. I could not get it. I ran with the rumor anyway in a video I talked about, but I state it is a rumor. I do not know if it is true. I hope it is not true. That's part of the reason I didn't report it. I really don't want this one to be true. Christine Fernandez for $5. My son back in 2009 got me into Doctor Who, and we both have been sad at the awful agenda push they have done. Thank God for Classic Who. Christine, thank God for Classic Who. And you got back into it in 2009. That's about the time it hit Netflix, right? I think it was 2009 or 2010. Jodie Bowie for $2. Peter could have been a good with good writing, but the writing blew. Yes. Peter could have been the best Doctor. Period. I mean, he really embodied the Doctor. I wasn't sold on him at first, but about 4 episodes into season 8, I'm like, oh, yeah. 2 of my favorite episodes are from season 8. Flatline and The Mummy on the Orient Express. I freaking love both Jamie Matheson episodes, and I wish he would run the show, to be honest with you. I'm a Jamie Matheson fan. Dalek 305. At least we still have the past 50 years of content to enjoy. We do. One of the things I did after last season, thank you Dalek 305 for the $5, is I went out and I bought, from UK versions, by the way, I bought somebody's collection of DVDs. Their complete Doctor Who DVD collection. Got a very good price, by the way, too. Now, I had to get a region-free DVD player to watch it, but I have almost every episode you can watch now. And I don't have to rely on a streaming service, give anybody any money. I've got the physical copies here in my possession. Now, I also have them all digitally. I'll tell you how I got those. So I was working, at the time, a contract gig for Technicolor, which turned into a regular gig. Technicolor is a post-production house. You might have heard of it, work on film. But I had access to this huge database, and I was told I had permission to grab what I wanted. So I did. Lots of movies, lots of TV shows, including complete seasons of Buffy and Doctor Who and stuff. They're in low-res versions and stuff, but I mean, they're still good enough to watch on, a computer or something like that. Not very good on the TV. But I'm glad that I own physical copies. Lady Mist for $5. Never mind, he was the 8th Doctor, won the War Doctor. Never mind, that was the 8th Doctor, not the War Doctor. My confusion. Been a while since I watched Doctor Who. So they showed the little boy in Listen. All right. They actually do a flashback of John Hurt's the War Doctor in that episode. I don't like that episode. I thoroughly dislike that episode. I know a lot of people like it, but no. Too much importance again on Clara. Scott Carr, who's still flying around, so she's another Time Lord too. Scott Carr for 5 Canadian pesos. Haven't been on in a while. Good job, Gary. How useless was Yaz in this episode? Go Team Venture. Scott, go Team Venture. Scott, have you heard anything? I have been looking every day. I know Venture Brothers, one of the greatest shows of all time. I know they are making season 8. Maybe it comes out this year. Cross your fingers. Fizzenthorpe for $20. Happy New Year, Gary. I saw Witcher. Cavill and Anya Chalotra are great. But I'm afraid season 2 will make Geralt's role smaller compared to Yennefer and Ciri. I hope they avoid the trend that other shows ran with. I think, Fizenthorpe, you could be right, but the data is clear. Everybody loves The Witcher. And listen, Anya Shalotra was very good, very, very good as Yennefer. That is Henry Cavill's show. He owns that show. I don't think there was enough Witcher in season 1, to be honest with you. He owns that show. If they make him a background character, people will just dip immediately. Don't make that mistake, Lauren Hisrich. Yes, we want Yennefer and we want Ciri, but it's called The Witcher. It stars The Witcher. It's a big, butch, manly man with a sword killing monsters. Yay. And I think it's a great mix. It's what Doctor Who used to be. I mean, much more violent, but it's a show for everyone. Nobody wants, we do want everyone at the table, but we also want the male audience included in this. And sorry, Doctor Who is still a show for girls. That's what it's turned into. The show for everyone is now a show for girls and Tumblr. And listen, they're going to be the last ones to see what's going on. The winds of change are happening, like it or not. They've been happening. We are in a very different situation now than we were a year ago, where they had the upper hand. Not the case anymore. Joel Tumburo for $5. Make me showrunner. I'd get Capaldi back for a regeneration scene. Jodie Whittaker's entire run turns out to be a hallucination, then change to a new doctor. Agreed. I will skip this run. If it gets better in the future, great. I'm not ready to walk away from Doctor Who yet. If we only get one more season, but the thing is, by the time Doctor Who gets good again, it'll be 2024, 25. Let's see. How old am I going to be then? I'm going to be 56. I'll be as old as Capaldi was when he became the Doctor. Yeah, I'm not much. How old was William Hartnell when he became the Doctor? William Hartnell, age when he became Doctor. He was 55 when he became the Doctor. William Hartnell was 5 years older than me. Listen, people, there was some rough living back then. Okay, there was some rough living. How's that? It looks like it's coming in. I'm talking about the stream. I'm looking at the stream health real quick. Thank you, Joel Tumburo. Bless you. Bless everybody. Happy New Year to people. Hey, to everyone. All sides of the aisle. If you love Jodie, you hate Jodie, I do want you to have a happy New Year. Just stop watching this show so we can get good Doctor Who. That's all I ask. But I want you to have a good life. Be happy. Have a happy New Year. Go away, Doctor Who. You know what, Jodie, go find another role. Go star in a soap opera that lasts for 20 years. Make millions of pounds. Good luck. Just get out of Doctor Who. Don't care what plays the Doctor. Just sick of being preached at by the lovies. Edward W., £5. And that's the sentiment I get from a long time. Yeah, this is the hand they dealt Jodie that wasn't fair. It was an uphill battle. I never liked the decision. It would be very hard for me to like this decision and enjoy it, but if it was a well-written show, I could be won over. Every time I could be won over by good writing, even if you put a political agenda in it, if you make it part of the story and it's believable within that world and it doesn't feel like I'm being preached at, I can watch something. Problem is, everybody's feeling preached at. It feels like an after-school special. It feels like these lines are inserted to check off a box or hit a beat, like some memo out there going, well, we got to make sure we state that white men are evil every 15 minutes. So we can do that in multiple ways. Subtle, not so subtle. So on the 15-minute mark, we're going to do a non-subtle one. And then at the 30-minute mark, we're going to do a subtle one or like a not so subtle one. So Java Bean for Australian $7.99. Stick to Doctor Who DVDs. Blu-rays have too many contributions from current Who writers and special features, etc. Not to mention that logo is everywhere. Yes. I did get a couple, and I made my own cases, Java Bean. I did. I'll show them to you. I'll show them on the video. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Okay, I'm going to go through and make sure. Again, welcome to all the new members. And I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, let's get to the chat. Mikey Woods, what's up, buddy? Thanks for being here with your wrench. Broken Entertainment. Gotta bounce, everyone. Have fun. Take it easy, my friend. The Doctor is weak. The companies are very weak. Just a bad show overall, says Dominic Pelosi. Absolutely. Reverend Bernfred Axfielder. The show is definitely for normies and gives a crap about the characters. As long as they have the books, the show will be watchable, but then it's got time. You're talking about Game of Thrones? Yeah, Game of Thrones. I'm still into the books. All right, folks. Donna Noble. We need Donna Noble. So again, I apologize for saying Dave Sim. I meant to say John Sim. Nobody's perfect. I thought Doctor Who was sci-fi, says the Tinkerer. The Doctor Who was sci-fi, fantasy. It's multiple genres. It's mainly science fiction. But I think it's science fiction fantasy. The world building is like that, to me anyway. That's the way I see it. Man of Action says, John Barrowman. Damn right. I won't forget to review the Frog book. I got to do that on the Super Chat Square Up, Mikey Woods, which Mikey pushed to tomorrow because Doctor Who kind of owns the day, and I've got to work on a video. I've got to watch it again. So we're going to wrap this one up, folks. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to be back live later this evening if any of you are up for the American version, which will be, it airs at 5 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific time, 6:30 Pacific time. I'll have watched it for the third time. God. And then remember, everybody, that the next episode is Sunday. So we got a short week. My God, I don't even know what day it is today. Today's Wednesday. So in 4 short days, we have another episode of Doctor Who. It is currently 1:30 p.m. on the Pacific coast of San Francisco, America. And it is 2020. And The Rise of Skywalker still sucks. And apparently so does Doctor Who. Drake is 6. Gary, I know what you mean about missing the music score. Ever since Barry Gary passed, the reboots of Captain Scarlet, the Thunderbird show was not as good. Hey, it's all about the music. The music makes everything. That's my biggest complaint about The Mandalorian. And people misunderstand my complaint. The music's not good for Star Wars, for the world of Star Wars. It's supposed to be John Williams-esque. It doesn't have to be John Williams. It has to be John Williams-esque. But now it's Disney Star Wars. So there you go. All right, folks. I will see you. That's the reason why I got BBC was Torchwood. I like Torchwood. I do. Torchwood is cheesy. It's got horrific episodes. Hang on. It's got the Cyberwoman. You think they'll bring this back? Chris Chibnall. Hey, but I like it. I liked it. I did. I know some people don't, but I liked it. All right. Again, I will see you all soon. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you to all the new members. And again, have a very happy new year. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours. And remember, not all who wander are lost. And you know what? We're going to end with some music. Why don't we end with some music? I did want to, hang on. That's the wrong image. I wanted to show you that. And the one thing I'm thankful for is Jodie's facial expressions. They have come back in a big way, ladies and gentlemen. So thanks again for showing up, and we will take you out with a little music. Catch ya later.
Nerderotic.com.
Be good to each other. Happy New Year, everyone. Remember, I will be back at 6:30 p.m. tonight to cover the American side of things. Now, I won't be doing that in the future. From here on out, after today, it will be live only after the UK viewing, and then we'll cover it on the Inquisition. So, Doomcock and I will be covering it on the Inquisition on his channel this Sunday. And I will be doing videos for each episode as well. I am also working on a Witcher video. Hopefully I'll get my Mandalorian video out. And I do have a Star Wars video coming very, very soon. So I will see you guys very soon. Take care.